Rahul Magan here is the Chief Executive Officer of Treasury Consulting LLP. And as you very well understand that we do have a dedicated desk which covers the insolvency and bankruptcy proceedings. So today we have decided to create a video, and of course in a longer tenure we would be coming up with the more videos about CIRP, Corporate Insolvency Resolution Process. I'm not here discussing about what CIRP is exactly all about. It's not a tutorial about CIRP because I understand that on the YouTube there are many tutorials which are available. Without quoting the name of the few personalities, those who are simply copycatting whatever written in the code they are putting on the YouTube. This is not the purpose of the YouTube, and for that we are not here making this video. This video is going to be targeting what are the flaws which we have in the CIRP. If you take my personal understanding as far as the insolvency and bankruptcy code is concerned, that my personal understanding is that, or my personal viewpoint is that this code is a worthless code. Worthless code, I repeat, in the sense like this code has been drafted keeping nothing in the financial market into consideration. You go to IFRS, you go to US GAAP. We have a very important section which is business combination. Most of the people, those who are watching this video, must be thinking that I am talking about insolvency and bankruptcy code. Why I am talking about IFRS and US GAAP, and about IND AS also, which is AS 109. If you look at all three, which is IFRS, US GAAP and IND AS 109, you would make out a sense that you have an important topic. That topic is known as business combinations, which covers M&A, amalgamation, mergers, hostile takeovers, spin-outs, spin-offs, and the list is pretty long. All those people, those who have drafted this code, they were quite not aware about what exactly is all about financial markets. This code is a completely worthless as far as the financial market instrument is concerned, as far as the business combination is concerned. Both are not the part of this code, and we are going to be prove that using our CIRP. In this month, which is the month of September, and probably in the October, we are going to be launching so many videos about insolvency and bankruptcy code, which will tell you about from the practitioner point of view, not from the exam point of view, because our purpose is not to clear the exam. We understand the course, we are doing the consultancy of IBC. There are many training programs which we are running about IBC, a lot of seminars which we are conducting about IBC. We are getting invited in a lot of seminars and so on and so forth. Here we would be tell you how CIRP is absolutely a worthless, and it's not cover a lot of things. But before that, let's look at what code says about it. As per the code, corporate insolvency resolution process could be initiated by either of three, which is a financial creditor, a man who actually who has lended some money to a corporate; operational creditor, the man who has sold his goods; the man who is a worksman. Although worksman compensation is excluded from operational creditor. So operational creditor is divided into two parts, one with worksman compensation and works with non-worksman compensation. Example, Kingfisher. Kingfisher has been grounded from the last several years, if I'm not mistaken, I think 5-6 years, I could be wrong here, and not a single penny has been paid to the pilots and all the employees. Neither these employees have been asked to go also. So they are in a dilemma. So don't know they are on the payrolls of that company or they are not on the payrolls of that company. In that regards, it's worksman compensation. Or other way, there could be multiple people, those who have given goods to airlines. Like if you go to airline, you will get a food, lunch, dinner, snacks and so and soft drinks. There's so many things which people are offering, right? From where it is coming. If I'm not mistaken, that Taj Cater something is a cater firm, which is by the Taj hotels. They are giving it to Air India. Assuming they are giving it to Kingfisher also, or they are giving it to Jet, who defaulted today, or they not been able to pay, then this is an operational creditor. One is a corporate debtor himself. When a debtor himself thinks that he is not in a position to pay the money, and he would like to wind up himself. I don't know how many people seriously trust on that, but we have limited people, those who will come forward and say we not been able to pay, or we are turning insolvent. I am quoting this example from a very good movie which is in the Hollywood, which is The Margin Call. No, sorry, which is Margin Call. If you've been got a chance to look at that movie Margin Call, you would make out that 13 September 2008, a golden date in the history of financial markets, when the Lehman Brothers crisis happened, when the world market frozen, Indian rupee went up to approximately 50 rupees in just few hours. Central banks were reluctant to lend to each other. Cross currency swaps, they were all frozen and everything. Even before 12th of September, none of the board members, if you look at the movie, were ready to acknowledge that Lehman Brothers is approximately 9 trillion of derivatives were lying on an equation which is a worthless equation. So I seriously don't think that, at least in the countries like India, wherein there is a big scope of insolvency, we will find somebody who would be acting like a corporate debtor. Example, Bhushan Steel. You would have Videocon. You have so many companies, those who owe a lot of money to the banks. They really not interested in paying so. There are so many power companies which are in completely mess. And sooner or later they would be in the IBC. According to the newspaper, approximately 200 top industrial corporations, precisely speaking, they would be coming to NCLT, which is nothing but the Adjudicating Authority, National Company Law Tribunal, and NCLT, National Company Law Appellate Tribunal, and then to Supreme Court if you're not happy. They would come to protect themselves against bankruptcy in NCLT. That is a wonderful thing which you would be having, right? Top 200 industrial corporations would be coming in NCLT. So my viewpoint is, who would be giving the jobs? From where the jobs would be coming if 200 top industrial corporations would be in NCLT, and their first priority is to save themselves, not to get bankrupt as far as the law is concerned. So my personal understanding is that there is not a single benchmarking, the first law which has been given as far as the corporate debtor is concerned. I would like to link this statement with a matrix, which is KRA matrix, which we have in the corporations, in the companies. All the people, those who are working, and I served as a corporate treasurer at a senior designation, so I understand that. All those people, those who are working, they need to fill a KRA sheet at the end of the month, sometimes at the end of the quarter. Now what this KRA sheet is all about, example, you have to deliver this work, how much it has been delivered, either this is red, this is green, or this is amber. If this is green, the job has been done, it has done fantastically. If it is amber, it means it has started but not yet reached, and if it is red, it means it has not even yet started, or even if it has get done, then the job done approximately more time what is used to be. In the code, you have simply mentioned a corporate debtor, whereby corporate debtor feels that he would like to wind up himself. Boss, tell me one thing. You have so many companies in India. Can I have 10 examples whereby company himself come in the market and say that I want to bankrupt myself? Why don't we created a benchmark? Benchmark in the sense like, if debt to equity ratio is greater than 5, I am giving you a hypothetical example. If interest coverage ratio is greater than 6, if tie ratio times interest earned ratio is greater than 6.1, although interest coverage ratio and times interest earned ratio are to an extent some same, but there is some little differentiate in the formula for few people, and I am also on that side of the school. If the EBITDA would have decreased to 10% of the surplus, if the net worth, which is nothing but capital employed plus reserves and surplus, has been eroded, why have you not created any benchmarking in the code? And if you would have created in the benchmarking and that would have get revised every quarter, it would be easy for an investor who has invested in some company to make sure that is this company is ideally heading towards a corporate debtor. I would like to give a simple example. Today you have to fill your income tax return. Assuming you are sitting on 22nd July, and from a personal angle, 31st July you have to fill your income tax return. Now, if you have not filed your income tax return, what you would be doing? You know that you have not filed for that, so you will expect some kind of notice that would be coming from the income tax department because you have not done your income tax. In case you have paid your TDS, that deduction, that notice would not come, or even if the notice would come, you have a counter notice. You can say that, boss, I have already paid the TDS, there is no point, I will fill till the next March. But in case you have not paid the TDS and also not filed for the income tax return ITR, you know that you have done something wrong. My point to the company law board or the Institute of Company Secretary of India, the actual it's the institution, it's IBC is the baby of Institute of Company Secretary of India, that why we have not created a benchmarking in that. And are we thinking that people in this country are Satyavadi Harishchandra, that they will come forward and they will say that boss, I am turning bankrupt? Do you think that even Vijay Mallya himself today not acknowledged that he is turned bankrupt? He is in the UK from at least more than a year, and he himself not acknowledged till now that he is a bankrupt person. The employees in the Kingfisher are still on the rolls, though they not get paid from the last more than 3 to 4 years. Do you think that the people in this country are so Satyavadi Harishchandra that they will come forward and wind up themselves? Why don't we have a benchmarking as far as the corporate debtor is concerned? This is the first point of a Treasury Consulting LLP as far as the CIRP is there. That is why we as a company don't believe in just clearing an examination and getting a certification that we turned out to be an interim resolution professional or we turned out to be a resolution professional, which is a full-time resolution professional, because clearing that exam is nothing but a mugging up. That we don't believe. Another thing, as per the code is concerned, the code suggests that this CIRP could be done because of following reasons. Okay, let us look at the reasons. The reason says money borrowed, fund raised under credit facility, which is also known as CC, and which is cash credit. One of the credit facilities is cash credit actually. Issuance of bonds, notes, debentures, loans, stocks, and so many things. Something which could either lead to capital lease or operating lease. Forfeiting or factoring, which is recourse. I hope that you understand what do you mean by forfeiting and factoring. In case of forfeiting and factoring, you will pledge or sell your AR to a party which is a forfeiter, whereby he will give you a money. So example, take a simple example of TCS. Sitting today, TCS have hypothetically $3 billion of AR in the book, foreign currency, that is our dollar. AR stands for account receivable in the books. And TCS wanted to buy say Paro system. What TCS would be doing, TCS currently have a cash, suppose the deal is of 7 billion and TCS would have the cash of 4 billion, so TCS needs urgent cash. They believe that Paro system is a wonderful company and they should buy it. This will increase their viability in the business. We are taking a hypothetical example. So what TCS would be doing, TCS will go to a forfeiter and TCS would be selling their all AR either on the recourse basis or the non-recourse basis. We are not here discussing in detail what is the difference between factoring and forfeiting and so on and so forth, because this is outside the jurisdiction of that, else it's going to be pretty long, right? But in either of the case, they have two options, which is recourse and non-recourse. In case of the recourse, what would happen that TCS will get, assuming the discount is 2%, assuming TCS will get 98% of 3 billion. And in case of recourse, I assume to be 2.96 billion, just a hypothetical example. In this case, TCS, in case of recourse, TCS will still have a guarantee in that in case the clients to whom the invoices have been raised against the work which TCS has been done, if they don't pay, then TCS will pay. So forfeiture is secure. So forfeiture, assuming TCS has done some work for Microsoft, and due to some technical issues, Microsoft not been able to pay. It's not a question of default, but Microsoft not been able to pay to TCS. And amount, assuming this amount is $500 million out of $3 billion, which is 1/6. Now what TCS would be doing, 16%, roughly 16.67, 17% of that. In case of recourse, TCS would have a guarantee to a forfeiture that if Microsoft don't pay, then I will pay. As simple as that. In case of non-recourse, wherein the fees is extremely high, so here it won't be 98%, here it might go to 95%, or it may come down to 90% also. It depends upon how your AR has been denominated. So it would be 95% of 3 billion, and here TCS have no guarantee. So if Microsoft don't pay, then then It's between forfeiter and Microsoft. TCS has no role. Then we have a derivative transaction, trade finance instrument, counter indemnity guarantee. These are the three places where we have a reservation as far as the code is concerned, and we would like to give you a simple example of one of them. Although we don't have much time, of course we are planning a lot of videos, and a lot of these videos we will tell you that our competency in the insolvency and bankruptcy code is much better than the competency of the others. They only understand the code, but we know the nuances of the code as well. These all three where our reservation is there. Also, as far as the factoring and forfeiting is concerned, we have our reservation, but still we are not disclosing as yet. In case of derivative, I would like to ask from the people, those who have made this code, where this transaction would be. Assuming you have a Bhushan Steel here. Assuming Bhushan Steel, this is a bank, and bank has lended approximately $2 billion to Bhushan Steel, which in today's terms stands roughly 12,800 crores approximately, if I take INR as 64. Assuming Bhushan Steel has invested this complete money in the working capital, which is a very rare scenario because generally companies are not doing that, and assuming Bhushan Steel turned bankrupt. This is a very simple case. Now my question is, if you look at the code has simply said a derivative instrument, but if you look at the complete code, nowhere code has mentioned which kind of derivative instrument could be categorized as a default. Example, if Bhushan Steel is selling the steel to US or Europe, Germany, Russia, China or different parts of the globe, then Bhushan Steel would have an issue of the cash flow. Cash flow in the sense like, the steel which they are making is having a cost Indian rupee. The selling is which is happening in American dollars. So the issue is dollar to Indian rupee. They would have done some kind of forward contracts. They would have done some kind of options. On this $2 billion of loan which they have received from a bank, they might have done some swaps also. So they could have dollarization swap. They could have reverse dollarization swap. They could have OIS, overnight index swaps. If you look at this code completely and read page by page, nowhere a single word except a derivative transaction which has nothing else except that has been mentioned, that which all derivative instrument this code is talking about. If this code is talking about forward, is it talking about option, or is talking about the swap? This is just a small introduction of what I am talking about. Plus, another thing, is this code covering deliverable market or non-deliverable market? There are many companies which we have in India. Few, Genpact, Accenture, Cognizant, Sapient, Microsoft, Google. We have n number of companies in India, those who have a substantial presence in the non-deliverable market. What is non-deliverable market? What are the options we have in the non-deliverable market? Please refer our YouTube channel, you will get a lot of videos. This code is nowhere talking, boss, if you have a position which is taken up by your subsidiary. It means that Bhushan Steel India has not taken a position, rather Bhushan Steel US or Bhushan Steel Singapore have taken a position in the Singapore market, which is one of the offshore delivery centers. In that regards, what would be the positioning of that in the insolvency and the bankruptcy code? So in short, all the three, which is cash flow hedging, fair value hedging and net investment hedging, how all these three would be working here. I have not yet touched trade finance instruments and the counter indemnity guarantee, which we are going to touch later. Another beautiful thing which I wanted to discuss here is what would, if we have a bank. In India, the presence of the CDS market is approximately zero. CDS stands for credit default swap. And we don't have a single name CDS, multi-name CDS, single trigger CDS, single basket CDS, multi-basket CDS. We have different kind of CDS. First till default CDS, second till default CDS, and a till default CDS. We have huge amount of CDS. Now my question to them is, assuming a foreign bank is lending to Bhushan Steel and that foreign bank has taken a CDS position in the market, CDS stands for credit default swap position, which they have taken in the market. Now in this CDS position which the bank has taken, and assuming Bhushan Steel actually defaulted, because we have not created any benchmarking here, assuming Bhushan Steel actually defaulted, but the funds which the foreign bank has given to Bhushan Steel being recovered from the CDS. CDS would have two ways. One is reference obligation, one is notional obligation. Now my question is, in either of the case, if you look at the complete code, none of the cases has been covered. Please read the complete code page by page on CIRP, and we will assure you that we would be bringing a lot of videos about this code. Read this code page by page and you will get to know that not even C of a credit default swap has been covered in the code. My question to the people, those who have made the code: if a foreign bank, I'm not talking about a public sector bank, because public sector banks never take the CDS, they are always under RBI guidelines, and you understand how RBI works. My question to them is, if a foreign bank has lending to Bhushan Steel, and Bhushan Steel has put this money in the working capital, and assuming steel prices crashed, which is to an extent the case right now because commodities are very down to an extent, and the foreign bank, you know that it's a foreign bank, it's not a public sector bank, consequently they have taken up a position in the CDS market, which is credit default swap. And at the default of the Bhushan Steel, what did happen? The entire money refunded. We are not entering into the technical things, whether it's a reference obligation or it's a notional obligation, but we are just discussing here. Now the fund has been refunded. Now basically the funding position, which is of $2 billion, got refunded. Can this bank put Bhushan Steel as a financial creditor, which is here? Can a bank put this Bhushan Steel as a financial creditor? In this next video, we will talk about a very important topic which CIRP is missing, which this code as a whole is missing, which is contingent considerations. Assuming a company has been bought up by another company. This company is making, both the companies are drug companies, pharmaceutical companies in short. Assuming the company who bought turned bankrupt. However, the company whom they bought, they are having a contingent consideration arrangement with the company who turned bankrupt, it means the buyer. Can this be covered under IBC? My simple and humble request, if you read this code very carefully, you will get to know not even C of the contingent consideration has been there. This code to an extent is having so many flaws. Infrastructure wise, this code is not complete. You know the positions of NCLT, how the Tata mystery case has been handled. There's not a very good understanding of this code even at the NCLT level. Accounting standard wise, there are so many things which are not mentioned in this code. So many double meaning things are there. And at the end of the day, the moratorium period of 180 days which this code is saying, which could be extended to another 90 days. This is absolutely unviable. We have so many derivative instruments which I can tell you, if as a financial creditor I would challenge few companies which I cannot name here, they have such kind of derivative instrument where it take at least 30 days to value their derivative position. And the consideration of 180 days is very small, because once I evaluate, the person on the other side, the company himself will come and counter argument that the valuation is wrong. There are a lot of nuances on the flip side as far as this code is concerned. We have a dedicated desk of this code. Our current website www.treasuryconsulting.in is about to phase out. Hopefully very soon we would have a new website wherein we would cover more than 44 new business streams. We are offering a lot of training programs and insolvency and bankruptcy code. We have a WhatsApp group about insolvency and bankruptcy code. In case you want to talk to us, visit our website www.treasuryconsulting.in. My mobile is 9899242978. My Skype ID is Rahul5327. My email is rahul.magan@treasuryconsulting.in. Do remember, With our next new website, we are all set to open an insolvency and bankruptcy code. And you understand that Treasury Consulting LLP is initiating its Singapore subsidiary in January 2018, and insolvency and bankruptcy code would be there. From a practitioner point of view, we as a company don't believe in this insolvency code. There are a lot of mistakes which has been done, clarification issues are there, and as far as the financial market and accounting standard is concerned, taxation issues are there. These are completely missing here. With this, we would like to thank you very much. In case you have any requirement about the training and the consulting, you can contact us. Thank you, and more videos on the way. Have a wonderful time ahead.